Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. Hope you had an absolutely fantastic weekend. This last weekend was the time of what is known in this part of the country as the Pate Swap Meet. The Pate Swap Meet is the largest automotive swap meet in the Southwest. Absolutely humongous. Uh, Someone had told me recently that if you walked every aisle and covered all of it in the 3 days that you would have walked 40 miles. Well, I was talking to some other guys down there uh, this last weekend, and they said, no, 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 it's 18 miles. Well, I can tell you it felt like 40. I've got horrible feet. I had jumped off and bought a really super good set, at least I was told they were, of tennis shoes called Hoka's. I've got some good friends that are over in their 80s. They still run marathons. And they said, oh, these are the greatest shoes in all the world. Well, I went down on Thursday, and after walking for like half a day, I felt like my feet were absolutely going to drop off. One of the most miserable days I've ever had at a swap meet. Getting old is truly the pits. But anyway, following up on that, thanks to 800 Motrin and a foot band to give my arch some support, it was more tolerable on Friday and Saturday. And the weather was great. I sure didn't sell anything. I set up in a booth. I thought it was a fantastic location. I sold like $200 worth of stuff in 3 days. It's like, say what? And look, they put some people claim they put in 3 days they put somewhere between 50 and 70,000 people through there. 3 people stopped at my booth. It was ridiculous. I could see people over here by the hundreds passing by carrying stuff, and I had one guy actually come by the booth, and he said, I didn't even realize that you were here. I just happened to glance to the side, and there you were. He didn't buy anything, but at least he knew I was there. It was just absolutely crazy. But I managed to find some good stuff. I bought a top loader transmission out of a 65 Ford Galaxy 390 car, and I bought a T10 4-speed transmission out of a 65 Mustang. So I did do a little bit of good. I sure needed to sell some stuff, though. So anyway, hope you had a fantastic weekend. My wife says I'm absolutely addicted to swap meets. Well, she doesn't carry that far enough. I'm absolutely addicted to swap meets, garage sales, and auctions. She says I'm a hoarder. No, it's not true at all. Not a hoarder. A hoarder buys and never sells. I buy and I sell occasionally. But I've got too much stuff. I agree with that. And, I tell people all the time, if you're looking for some Ford and Chevy stuff, contact me because I may have what you need stashed in one of my storage buildings and shops. Because I do gather stuff up. I don't necessarily always buy to sell. It's like, oh, I can use that. Oh, yeah, I need that, or whatever. And then I don't use it, and it sits there. So my wife calls it, instead of an addiction, she changes and she said, yeah, it's a disease. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, you're right. It is a disease. I need another shot at the next upcoming swap meet. That's the only thing I know. Okay, let's get back into our study of does Isaiah chapter 65 predict the AD 70 coming of the Lord to bring in the new creation? And here's the reason this is so incredibly important. Virtually everyone, there's a few dissenting voices out there, but virtually everyone agrees that Matthew chapter 25, 31 and following is a prediction of the final coming of the Lord at the end of the Christian age, the end of time, to bring in the new creation. Okay? Isaiah 65 is about the coming of the Lord to bring in the new creation. And as I shared with you recently, virtually no one denies that Isaiah 65 and Isaiah 66 serve as the fountain for the New Testament references to the new heaven and the new earth. In my Logos Bible study program, I recently did a search of all of the commentaries that I have in my library. Now, I don't have $10,000 worth of commentaries, okay? I know people that do, but nonetheless, I have and I do continually add books to my library. So I went and I examined commentary after commentary after commentary in regard to 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 13. According to his promise, we look for a new heaven and a new earth. And every single one of them that made any comment about the source of Peter's prediction of the new heaven and earth said, oh, it's Isaiah 65 and Isaiah 66. I fully agree with that. So here's the significance of that, ladies and gentlemen. If Matthew chapter 25, 31 and following is the same coming of the Lord, day of the Lord, as 2 Peter chapter 3, and everybody agrees that it is, basically, then if 2 Peter chapter 3 is drawing on Isaiah 65 and Isaiah 66, as virtually everyone admits, and if Isaiah 65 and 66 foretold the AD 70 coming of the Lord, then that means several things. Number one, it means that those who tried to divide the Olivet discourse into two different subjects at Matthew 24 and verse 36 saying, okay, verses 4 to 35, that's AD 70, but verses 36 and following, all the way through chapter 25, 31 and following, that's the end of the world. Well, if that conflation of Isaiah 65, Matthew 25, 2 Peter 3 is correct, based upon the majority of commentators, if that correlation is correct, then there is no division of the Olivet discourse. Do you catch the power of that, folks? This is incredibly important. Furthermore, if that correlation between Isaiah 65 and Isaiah 66 with Matthew 25, 31, 2 Peter chapter 3 is correct, that means there is no futurist eschatology. It means that the coming of the Lord to bring in the new creation is not at the end of the Christian age. It's not at some imaginary end of time. It means that the coming of the Lord to bring in the new creation was in fact in AD 70. This is why I've been spending so much time lately in showing us and in sharing with you that Isaiah 65 did in fact predict the coming of the Lord in AD 70 at the time of the destruction of Old Covenant Israel. And I've got to take a little bit of a digression here, if you don't mind. Some of my detractors on YouTube, and I really shouldn't laugh, but it almost is funny of how several of them, actually there's just a little core group of 3 or 4, they have tried every way in the world to respond to Isaiah 65 as well as Isaiah 27, Isaiah 59, by claiming that Isaiah 65 had nothing to do with AD 70. Well, when I pointed out how the New Testament writers draw on Isaiah 65, they changed their mind. They said, oh, well, Isaiah 65 was typologically fulfilled. That was the initial, immediate fulfillment of Isaiah 65, but there was to be an antitypical fulfillment. They refused to say when that antitypical fulfillment was, which reveals and exposes the fact that they know when it would be, and that was in AD 70. So they've gone from saying, well, Isaiah 65 didn't have anything to do with AD 70. Oh, but wait, it had an antitypical fulfillment because of the New Testament writer's application. So then some of them changed their story, changed their narrative to say, well, yeah, there was an antitypical fulfillment in AD 70. And by the way, there was an antitypical fulfillment, or there will be an antitypical fulfillment at the destruction of the Roman Catholic Church at the end of time. So they develop a tripartite fulfillment of type and antitype. They're literally all over the map. I mean, literally all over the map. And then some of them have said, well, okay, it's true that the New Testament writers do cite Isaiah 27, Isaiah 28, even Isaiah 66, but they just quote a few lines, just a few words from those passages and apply it in a way that they want to, that they feel is appropriate. Well, that's a denial of metalepsis, ladies and gentlemen. Metalepsis is the Hebraic hermeneutic that says when a New Testament writer quotes, cites, or echoes an Old Testament prophecy, they are bringing that entire prophecy, that entire context to the mind of the reader or to the hearer. I'm the one that pointed this out. And now all of a sudden, just this morning, I was reading some comments from one of these detractors saying, Preston doesn't believe in metalepsis on Isaiah 27 or Isaiah 28. No, I'm the one that is a proponent of. These individuals have swapped the story from initially saying and denying that the whole context is being applied to by the New Testament writers, of saying that Paul, in effect, was cherry picking just a few words, just a few lines from Isaiah 27, Isaiah 28. He wasn't bringing the context over until just this morning. I was reading some of the comments in which one of these detractors said, Preston is denying the use of metalepsis. What? No, I'm the one affirming it. They're the ones that have been denying it, and all of a sudden they're trying to change the script, flip the script, and say, yeah, Paul's practicing metalepsis. You see what I mean? When I say that the detractors of covenant eschatology are guilty of argumentum ad desperatum, when I say they're literally all over the map, when they change their story from post to post, and then accuse me of flipping the script. It really is quite sad. Okay, gotta get back to this. One of the ways that we know that Isaiah 65 is a reference to AD 70 is because of what Isaiah 65, I'm only going to have enough time right now to read this, and we'll pick up on it tomorrow. After saying and predicting the destruction of the corporate body of Israel and the salvation of the righteous remnant. Oh, by the way, one of these detractors accused me of denying that. No, once again, I'm the one that said that Isaiah 65 is talking about the destruction of the corporate body of Israel, the salvation of only the righteous remnant. And yet they were claiming that I was predicting the destruction of all Israel, including the remnant. I never said anything closely resembling that. It's just a blatant misrepresentation of what I believe. But again, when you're desperate, you got to make desperate claims. Okay, so after predicting the destruction of the corporate body, salvation of the remnant, the Lord said, speaking of that remnant, behold, my servant shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink. You, who's the you? It's the disobedient. It's the corporate body. Who are the servants? The righteous remnant. And see, I've said this kind of thing over and over and over again, but the detractors simply ignore what I have to say and then misrepresent what I do say. Now that is not really honest. Okay, to continue. Behold, my servant shall rejoice. You shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart. You shall cry for sorrow of heart and wail for grief of spirit. You, that's the disobedient corporate body, shall leave your name as a curse to my chosen. The Lord God will slay you and call his servants by another name. Folks, what do we have being represented here? What we have represented here is what is known as the Messianic wedding banquet. When and where does the Bible posit the time of the full setting, as it were, of the Messianic wedding banquet? And we might even call it the resurrection banquet. Now, your assignment between today and tomorrow is to read Isaiah 25, 6 and following. And we will discuss the Messianic wedding banquet, the Messianic banquet in which the servants of the Lord, his obedient, faithful ones, would sit at the Messianic wedding banquet, the resurrection banquet, while the rest, the corporate body of the disobedient, was destroyed. I'll see you on the flip side.